people behave very peculiarly in terms of the reactions because they're human beings, and they get excited when others get excited, they get greedy when others get greedy, they get fearful when others get fearful, and they'll continue to do so. And you will see things you won't believe.
Hey guys, if you or someone you care about is worried, maybe even panicking about their investments, the following 5 simple rules will stop the pain. The world is complex, our investments shouldn't be. Hey guys, I'm Björn and welcome. This is the Avenue to Revenue. And on this path, we build wealth the simple way. So the following 5 rules, I really want to make sure it's being spread out there because they're so simple, yet not everyone is doing it. So let's quickly jump into this as I want to get this message out there as soon as possible. Rule number 1, safety first.
To make money they didn't have and didn't need, they risked what they did have and did need. And that's foolish. That is just plain foolish. It doesn't make any difference what your IQ is. If you risk something that is important to you for something that is unimportant to you, it just does not make any sense.
Don't invest before you have not set up an emergency fund of at least 3-month net salary. If you're single, if you have got kids, 6-month net salary. And only invest money you don't need. If you're planning to purchase a house or apartment within the next 5 years, don't invest. Yes, it's going to be painful because of the high inflation, but it's much better off in the bank than potentially selling it when the market is even more down. That would hurt so much more. Rule number 2, don't listen to any single stock picking advice.
Defining your circle of competence is the most important aspect of investing. It's not how important, how large your circle is. You don't have to be an expert on everything. But knowing where the perimeter of that circle of what you know and what you don't know is, and staying inside of it, is all important. So if I understand a few things, and I stick in that arena, I'll do okay. And if I don't understand something, but I get all excited about it because my neighbors are talking about it, the stocks are going up and everything, I start fooling around someplace else, eventually I'll get creamed, and I should. You're not going to get 500 great opportunities. You would be better off if when you got out of school here, you got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and every financial decision you made, you used up a punch. You'd get very rich because you'd think through very hard each one. I mean, you went to a cocktail party and somebody talked about a company you didn't even understand what they did or couldn't pronounce the name, but they'd made some money last week and another one like it. You wouldn't buy it if you only had 20 punches on that card. There's a temptation to dabble, if, particularly during bull markets. In stocks, it's so easy, you know. It's easier now than ever because you can do it online. You know, just you click it in and maybe it goes up a point and you get excited about that and you buy another one the next day and so on. You can't make any money over time doing that. But if you had a punch card with only 20 punches, you weren't going to get another one in the rest of your life, you would think a long time before every investment decision. And you would make good ones and you'd make big ones. And you probably wouldn't even use all 20 punches in your lifetime, but you wouldn't need to.
If you invest into the stock market, you need to run your own analysis. Don't blindly follow anyone's advice. I know it's easier to follow anyone's advice, but you don't really know what you're investing in, and that could hurt. So do your homework. It can get very expensive otherwise. Basically, there are 2 ways you can invest. This brings me to the next important rule. Rule number 3, don't put all your eggs into one basket. Diversification is absolutely key if you want to sleep well at night.
The question is about diversification, and I've got a dual answer to that. If you are not a professional investor, if your goal is not to manage money in such a way as to get a significantly better return than the world, then I believe in extreme diversification. I mean, so I believe 98 or 99%, maybe more than 99% of people who invest should extensively diversify and not trade. So that leads them to an index fund type of decision with very low costs. Because all they're going to do is own a part of America. And they made a decision that owning a part of America is worthwhile. I don't quarrel with that at all. That is the way they should approach it, unless they want to bring an intensity to the game to make a decision and start evaluating businesses. But once you're in the business of evaluating businesses and you decide that you're going to bring the effort and intensity and time involved to get that job done, then I think that diversification is a terrible mistake.
Unless you're not absolutely profound, you should probably consider Warren Buffett's advice. and invest into index funds. Evidence shows that index funds, ETFs, show over long term a steady growth with a lower volatility compared to single stocks. You can feel much more relaxed with a broadly diversified portfolio and don't have to be scared about a single stock may crashing and risking your entire portfolio to tank. Make sure you stay until the end of the video, where I will give you one more bonus tip so you can become a truly relaxed investor. Which nicely leads me to rule number 4, time.
Wall Street makes its money on activity. You make your money on inactivity. You know, I mean, if everybody in this room trades their portfolio around every day with every other person, you know, you're all going to end up broke, and the intermediary is going to end up with all the money. On the other hand, if you all own stock in a group of average businesses and just sit here for the next 50 years, you'll end up with a fair amount of money, and your broker will be broke. And that factor so overrides anything else. I mean, if you're right about the business, you'll make a lot of money. And the timing part of it is a very tricky thing. So I don't worry about any given event if I've got a wonderful business, you know, what it does to next year or something of the sort. The wonderful business, you know, you can figure out what will happen. You can't figure out when it will happen. You don't want to focus too much on when. You want to focus on what. If you're right about what, you don't have to worry about when very much. Your stock exchange is a big supermarket of companies, and you're going to be buying stocks. What do you want to have happen? You want those stocks to go down, way down. And, you know, you will make better buys then. And later on, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when you're in a period when you're dis-saving or when your heirs dis-save for you, after you're gone, I mean, then you may care about higher prices. But I find people, that was one of the, there's a chapter 8 in Ben Graham's Intelligent Investor about the attitude towards stock market fluctuations. And that and the chapter 20 on the margin of safety are the two most important essays ever written on investing, as far as I'm concerned. Because when I read chapter 8, when I was 19, I figured, you know, I mean, I just figured out what I just said, but it's obvious. I didn't figure it out myself, though. It was explained to me. I'd probably gone another 100 years if I had read it and still thought it was good when my stocks were going up. No, we want things to go down, but I have no idea what the stock market's going to do. I never do. I never will. It's not something that I think about at all. When it goes down, I look harder at what I might buy that day, because I know there's more likely to be some merchandise there that I can use my money effectively in.
It's important that you understand that investing, in particular into index funds, ETFs, are long-term investments with a plus 15 years time horizon. By investing into the S&P 500, for instance, or even global broadly diversified ETFs, such as the MSCI World, you can expect an average return of 5 to 7% per year. That means you would double your portfolio approximately every 7 to 10 years. Again, you only invest what you don't need in the short term. You should aim for the same time horizon if you would invest into single stocks, obviously. Another time factor is the actual timing. When is the right time to buy stocks or ETFs?
I think America's business is going to do reasonably well over a long period of time, but I don't know enough to pick the winners, and I don't know enough to pick the winning times. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know enough to pick the winning times. Occasionally I think I know enough to pick a winner, but not very often. And I certainly can't pick winners by going down through the whole list and saying this is a winner and this isn't, and so on. So the important thing to do, if you have an overall feeling that business is a reasonable place to have your money over a long period of time, is to invest over a long period of time and not make any bet implicitly by putting a big chunk in at a given time. As to the criteria as to when you should or shouldn't, I don't think there are any great criteria on that. I don't think price-earnings ratio, determines things. I don't think price-book ratios, price-sales ratios. I don't think there's no single metric I can give you, or that anyone else can give you, in my view, that will tell you this is a great time to buy stocks or not to buy stocks or anything of the sort. It just isn't that easy. That's why you go to an index fund, and that's why you buy over a period of time. It isn't that easy. You can't get it by reading a magazine. You can't get it by watching television. You'd love to have something that said, if PEs are 12 or below or some number you buy, and if they're 25 or above you sell. It doesn't work that way. It's a more complex business than that. It couldn't be that easy when you think about it.
If you have an investment horizon of 15 plus years, it does not matter when you invest. There's no such thing as the best time, as you will never be able to buy at the very lowest point in time. You will only know retrospectively. So timing in the market beats timing the market. I understand that investing can be emotional. Help yourself and divide the amount you want to invest into tranches. As an example, if you want to invest 10K into the market right now, split it over 5 months, so 2K every single month. I'm confident that my money I invest today will have increased in 15 years plus time. Does this make sense to you looking from that angle? Rule number 5, automation. Do you also keep sometimes forgetting things? In order to make sure I keep on investing every single month, I automate my investments. Just like transferring the money every single month. Take advantage of the digitalization and automate the money transfer to your online stockbroker so the investments are being executed automatically every single month. No need to worry, no stress, dollar cost averaging, and you can go enjoy the nice parts of life. So only invest money you don't need. Invest in something you really understand, diversify your portfolio, be in for the long run, and avoid timing the market. Oh yeah, right. And I promised you one bonus rule, right? And that is stay away from media, as it will only confuse you.
We don't read or listen to or do anything in relation to macro factors at all, zero. And the typical investment counseling organization goes out and they bring out their economist, they trot him out, and he gives you this big macro picture, and then they start working from there on down. In our view, that's nonsense. And if Alan Greenspan was on one side of me and Bob Rubin on the other side, they were both whispering in my ear exactly what they're going to do the next 12 months. It wouldn't make any difference to me in what I pay for executive jet or general reinsurance or anything else I do.
So if you apply those simple 5 rules, you will not only become a successful investor, but also a relaxed investor. If you found one or more of those rules helpful, most likely someone you care about, like your mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, neighbor, or coworker, will find these absolute essential rules also helpful. Just imagine this simple message would protect your friend from putting them into a devastating situation. I'm not asking for liking. I'm not asking for commenting. I'm not even asking for subscribing my channel, even though that would be awesome. But I'm really asking you for, if you've got a particular person in mind right now who could benefit from this video, please share this with this person. Let's all have a positive impact in the lives of those we truly care about, making this a better place. I wish you all the best and see you in the next video. Take care.